Hiya, my name's Savannah Marshall and you're watching Sport and Icons.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Savannah Marshall versus Claressa Shields is definitely got a little bit spicy now. And that, in part, of course, is down to Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall, she's absolutely lovely. I've met her a few times. In fact, I briefly said hello to her in Cardiff right before she confronted Claressa Shields, because obviously she sat there with April Hunter. Of course, I'm very close with April. Usually, she's very calm, very collected, the silent assassin, right? But she knew exactly what buttons to press when it came to Claressa Shields immediately after Claressa Shields won a unanimous decision over Kozin. Now, firstly, Claressa, of course, she was out the ring for quite some time, as in the boxing ring, while she'd been concentrating on mixed martial arts for a little while. Of course, she took that loss in mixed martial arts. So maybe her getting back into boxing, transitioning back in, well, I'm sure it's very natural for her, obviously, because she's been doing it for, well, pretty much all her life. There's going to be a little bit of boxing ring rust. But ultimately, I thought that she did very well. But Savannah knew what buttons to press. And as much as Claressa Shields has been saying for quite some time, oh, I don't really care, it was a long time ago. It's on my, I think it was 24th amateur fight and whatever else. Because obviously, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you do, Savannah Marshall is the only person to have beaten Claressa Shields, amateur or pro. So she says that it doesn't really bother me, I don't really think about it. Clearly she does, because the way that she reacted to Savannah was pretty intense. That's a lot of frustration coming out at Savannah when Savannah says that if she fought her the way that she fought Kozin, then she'll get knocked out. I'll wipe the floor with you. And the way that Claressa Shields reacted to it, what will quite clearly tell you that this is something that has been playing on her mind for quite some time. Now, some of you will say that this is the biggest fight in women's boxing of this particular era. Some will say maybe all time. Obviously, some people are talking about Katie Taylor and, of course, Serrano. So Taylor versus Serrano, is that the biggest fight in women's history? Some will say yes, some will say no. If you're Eddie Hearn, of course, he's going to say yes, because obviously he's promoting that particular fight. Now, I'm not an expert on women's boxing, but of course I'm getting more and more into it for this particular era. And I think, going by the feedback that I've seen, it does appear that there's a lot more interest, at least, in Savannah Marshall versus Claressa Shields. And this little needle between them is only going to make it better. Now, I have heard, and I don't know this for a fact, meaning that I haven't heard it from somebody directly at the top of Sky Sports, and I haven't heard it directly from Ben Shalom, but I did hear on 2 occasions a couple of people mention that Marshall versus Shields, or Shields versus Marshall, however it's going to be panned out, is going to be at St James's Park in Newcastle, 57,000 people, seated stadium, and obviously whatever else they put on the pitch, so probably around 60,000 in. Now, would that sell out? I don't know. I think some of it may depend on the undercard as well. But regardless, the fact that they're looking to put a women's fight in a stadium is showing you serious intent. Serious intent. So you have to say to Ben Shalom, Boxer and Sky Sports, if of course this does turn out to be true, well done. For actually, because there's been a lot of promoters like Eddie Hearn and others talking about putting on a boxing event at St James's Park in Newcastle. None of them's done it yet. Ben Shalom, Boxer, Sky Sports, looks like they could well be doing it. Again, just to reiterate, if it's true. So, if it does turn out to be true, it's one thing to put on a fighting event in St James's Park in the stadium. It's nothing to put it as the main event, 2 women fighters. So congratulations to Savannah and Claressa for making this fight so big that Sky Sports and Boxer actually want to put it into a stadium. And I do get the feeling that more people are interested in this particular fight than they are Taylor versus Serrano. I don't know about globally. I couldn't tell you. But certainly in this neck of the woods, it does appear that Shields versus Marshall does seem to be the one that people really, really want to see. Now, I've been really wanting to see this fight for quite some time. And after this little needle, I really, really, really want to see this fight now. I really, really do. And if they do put it on St. James's Park, props to all of them, really. Who will win this fight? Obviously, I'm going to be siding with Savannah. Obviously, I want her to win anyway. But based on Claressa's performance against Kozin and Savannah Marshall's recent performances in that as well, I would probably favour Savannah Marshall at this particular point. But again, styles make fights, of course. I mean, you never know ultimately what's going to happen. You just don't know. Anything can happen. But I do favour Savannah Marshall. I really do. Many of you will totally disagree with Matt. And maybe you'll be right. Maybe you'll be right. But if I had to make a prediction right now, I'll probably say Savannah Marshall by knockout. Anyway, well done to Savannah Marshall for pretty much making this fight into a huge, huge fight. But again, first things first, March the 12th at the Eagles Arena in Newcastle. Need to get that win. And then in the summertime, let's see the fight that a lot of boxing fans want to see. And this isn't about women's boxing. People just want to see this particular fight. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.